Welcome to the 360 show. It's a new season, season 5, as we say goodbye to the IPL and hello T20 World Cup over there in the US and West Indies. Off to a really good start. Very exciting to see some cricket over there, as the Proteas are also off to a really good start with the win against Sri Lanka. We cover some of the other results. Also, I chat to Shane Watson about the winner's mindset, a book he released not so long ago. Also some comments from you guys and a new 360 challenge, all happening in season 5, episode 1 of the 360 show. Let's go. The Proteas are off to a really good start there at the T20 World Cup, beating Sri Lanka convincingly in New York. Sri Lanka stumbling 77 all out, and the Proteas getting that with 6 wickets in hand. I've noticed on X, on Instagram, social media platforms that you guys are calling this the group of death. I don't quite agree with that, and I'll tell you why. Let's just quickly go through Group A: USA, Canada, India, Ireland, Pakistan. That to me is already a much harder group and more tricky. We know Ireland's beaten a lot of big teams in World Cups. I think of that game in Bengaluru, the 50-over World Cup, where they beat England. They seem to always upset a team in World Cups. So alongside India and Pakistan there, and then hosts USA and also Canada that will be familiar with the conditions. I think Group A is a very tricky group. And then obviously the group of South Africa, alongside Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, a few others, Nepal and the Netherlands, also tricky. But the other one that I think is even more tricky than all of them, Afghanistan, West Indies, New Zealand, Uganda, and Papua New Guinea. No, perhaps not. Maybe it's Group A that's the hardest. Anyway, I don't think this is the group of death, but the Proteas are off to a winning start, and I'm very happy about that. So Anrich Nortje is off to an absolute flyer over there at the World Cup. It's a bit of a relief for myself and lots of South African fans, as he was struggling in this year's IPL, struggling with a niggle, a couple of injuries, also with just confidence in his form. For the Delhi Capitals were not as good as we used to see from him, but then he put on his Proteas jersey, ran in against Sri Lanka, and he got 4 wickets for 7 runs in his 4 overs. Absolutely incredible start there, and just really good signs for the Proteas bowling attack. As we have a look at this bowling attack, Marco Jansen and Kagiso Rabada, really nice opening pair. We got Bartman, who equaled the record for the most dot balls in a 4-over spell in a World Cup, which is incredible, as he's made his debut there for the Proteas in a World Cup. Keshav Maharaj, an absolute classy spinner, and then Anrich Nortje. I mean, that's a really, really strong bowling attack. And if you add the batting unit to that, who I feel is one of the best batting units in this tournament, you're all of a sudden looking at a really good team. Yes, it was a little bit tricky to play there in New York. It's the first time they would have played in the United States in a T20 World Cup game. As we know, it was a drop-in wicket as well, which makes it a bit tricky. And let's quickly talk about that, because I've played on many drop-in wickets in my life. I think of Auckland Park in New Zealand, which is always a drop-in wicket. Sometimes in Adelaide, lots of wickets around the world. They actually just bring that whole pitch in there and they drop it in the middle. Very tricky sometimes, especially when it's fresh, where I feel it's really slow and it gets tennis ball bounce, which means it bounces a little bit higher than usual and it loses its pace after the bounce. And that's what makes a drop-in wicket the hardest, is countering the bounce and getting used to that. Once the wicket have settled, so you'll see throughout this tournament, games 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it will start getting better. The bounce will be more even. The pace will even out a touch as well as it sets into the ground, you know. Yes, so that's the long and the short. It looked very tricky. It was moving around, but I think the thing that really got to the batters was that slow bounce. So the ball comes in 150 k's an hour. It loses almost all its pace and it bounces a bit higher than usual. Really difficult against guys like Rabada and Nortje and guys with a bit of pace. As we have a look at Group D quickly there, as we've mentioned, South Africa to a flying start. The thing that they will use or be happy about the most is that net run rate, plus 1.05. That is a huge jump and a great start for the Proteas. A really good step in the right direction for them. As we've already mentioned, getting that win with only 6 wickets in hand, close to 4 overs to spare. As we look at the scheduling, then the fixtures up and coming of Group D, you'll see there 4th of June, 7th, 8th. It's a jam-packed tournament, not a lot of time to fit in a lot of games. But that is Group D for you. Yes, to a certain extent, the group of death, but they're not the only group of death. This T20 World Cup. So interesting. As we have a look at the results quickly, I felt this was a very intriguing match. Canada and the US. We know of the history between the two nations, and here they clash in the very first T20 World Cup match in the United States. I really enjoyed watching this. 194 for 5 there, Canada, and the US went on to get this in 17.4 overs. An absolutely fantastic chase under pressure in the first T20 World Cup game at home. Well done to them. And there are 2 other results there as well. The Windies going through with a good win then. Also Namibia. I hope you guys watched that one with that super over drama. And former South African player David Visa having a blinder there in that super over. He was also there at the back end of that chase. Unfortunately, missing that last ball. The wicketkeeper for Oman had a golden opportunity. If he just collected the ball, they would have won. He fumbled it. They ran through for 1 by, and then the super over was called and entered Mr. David Visa, and he very quickly finished that off, getting over 20 in that super over, which has proved to be too much for Oman. So just absolutely incredible. Very interesting piece of knowledge for you guys today, a bit of a fact. What is the oldest bilateral cricketing rivalry that started in 1844? I'm going to give you the answer right away. It's Canada and the United States of America, even older than the Ashes of Australia and England and so many other legendary bilateral cricketing series. Canada and the United States started a bilateral series in 1844, guys. And it was just fantastic to watch them play in this opening match of the T20 World Cup. As we quickly have a look at I saw this on X and I found it very interesting from around the world. Look at those 2 teams, the USA and the Canada men's cricket teams. Look at all the different flags on there. Guys from, everywhere. South Africa, Canada, the States, all mixed up. The Windies, there's some Irish people in there. If I'm not mistaken, Pakistan, and so many more. Look at the... it looks a bit like a fruit salad. It's simply incredible, but it's great to see cricket being played in the Canada and the United States of America coming back to full strength. They started in 1844, and now they're still going, and they're getting global exposure, and that's what we want with these teams and with cricket in the United States of America. It's just so good to see a bit of cricket there, especially in the T20 World Cup, the biggest stage of them all. Alrighty, then I caught up with a good friend of mine at the IPL, Shane Watson. I'm just going to give you a little taste of what's to come. We had a really good interview and mostly spoke about his book that he released, The Winner's Mindset. He talks about mental toughness and some of his struggles that he's been through in his career. I found this book incredibly insightful and wish I knew of some of these techniques and tricks while I was playing back in the day. It's simply incredible to just think of a technique or 2 that you can use when you're feeling pressure, when you're feeling insecure, vulnerable. And Shane Watson covers all of that with me in this interview. So keep an eye out for that. The full episode or full interview will be released pretty soon. But here is a sneak peek. Watching footage of yourself, it's something you talk about that you obviously, you say you were a little bit shy of doing early on in your career. You saw Bing do it. Yeah. Great. I must say, I always said in interviews that I don't do it, but I actually sneakily look at some of my best knocks always. And I honestly wanted to see how I moved and why did I have so much time in that innings and not in that one. What do you think of that?
It's one of the most important things that people can do, honestly. 2 things that I teach and 2 things that I did immediately was when I understood this information. One was understand my mental energy and be really, really careful around overthinking anything. So I had as much mental energy as possible. So that's the one thing that I talk about people with to start with. The second one is watching footage of your best performances. Because what the what this book culminates to right at the end is called an ACT model, which is more so just a word-defined very best version of you, your best performance, and deeply defining it in attributes of you. Whereas watching footage of you in that innings is actually seeing you doing it and seeing that super version of yourself. And so many times people will only watch footage of themselves on their best days when they've had a long period, or quite a long period, where they've struggled and they haven't scored runs. They felt like, oh, I lost it, what's going on? And then you go, geez, and just watch a bit of footage, and all of a sudden you go, oh. And you might pick up a technical thing, or it might just be, oh, geez, I've just got so much freedom in my mind now. I'm just reacting. Oh my God, that's amazing. So by watching footage of your best innings, it's so powerful. And yeah, Brett Lee did it to and used to get nailed in the bus. The lead up to a game, everyone be on an iPad watching the footage of the opposition, and being on the way to the ground, be watching him bowling 160 Ks, stumps and pegs going everywhere, and everyone was like, what are you doing? Self-indulgent, right? But he was doing it, so then that was, oh yeah, that's me at best. Come on, let's go. Get me out there. That's the version I'm taking to the game today. It's a superpower, because you're just seeing the super version of you and go, oh yeah, that's what I'm bringing today, because that's actually me. It's not my favourite player doing amazing things. It's actually me.
I know. I fully agree with you. And there was one IPL season, I can't remember, it's 2015 or 14, where for some reason I couldn't find the highlights on telly when I got home after a good knock. I would always go to the television screen, put highlights on, because I wanted to see how I moved with certain shots. And I couldn't pick it up in that season. It wasn't on YouTube because of broadcasting rights. Some of that appeared on Twitter and then was immediately taken off. So it was a very frustrating season. But I find it very powerful. I really do. And when I'm home and I have a bad day or two, I still to this day remember a memory pops up of a knock at Lords or whatever, and I would actually just go and revisit that memory. And even though you're not boasting about your own performance, it's also good to revisit some memories of your life in general as well, I think.
Yeah, it's great catching up with one of the Australian greats, Shane Watson. He speaks about in his book how Brett Lee would watch footage of his best moments before a game and how it can help a player perform. And I did share with him that I used to do a little bit of that as well, not knowing that it was actually a really good technique to get your mind in the right frame of mind, or in the right space, to get that mental freshness ready going into a game, and just sort of falling back on some good times, good memories, good moments in your life, and seeing it firsthand. Somehow that sort of just gets the mind in a really good positive frame of mind, and that's what we speak about here. There's so many other amazing things we cover with this interview, and amazing things in that book. So if you can get your hands on the book, I'm pretty sure it's on all platforms, Amazon, and so many more. So go have a look and try and get your hands on Shane Watson's The Winner's Mindset. Simply incredible. Talking about winners' mindsets and preparations going into big matches like the T20 World Cup. I know India will be playing soon, but from a South African point of view, it was always important for me to feel close to the team, to the unit. So that culture was really important. And how do you get a good culture? It's by having a bunch of individuals who are all committed to adding value. We always spoke about a circle and to sort of add energy into the circle, because there might come a time where you'll have to take a little bit out. We all need that energy, but if everyone takes energy out, there's not going to be any energy left in that circle. So add as much as you can. And when you need it most, you can use a little bit of that energy. But as you loop around, come and add a bit of energy to that circle again. That is a healthy culture. And that's what I always wanted to feel like in big tournaments or heading into big games, just to feel the friends, feel like I've added value to this group. And now I can sort of take a little bit of energy on the day and go and perform out in the middle. It's more of an individual thing, how you prepare as well mentally before a game, the morning of the game. Do you meditate a bit? Do you believe in a big, healthy breakfast? Do you maybe go to the gym? A lot of guys like a Virat, a lot of golfers that I know, Rory McIlroy, and a few others, will have like a 30 to 45-minute gym session leading up to a big day. So it's simply incredible. I didn't do that. I would stretch a bit in my room, listen to really easy music, not intense music, something that'll calm me down, that'll slow my heart rate, and whatever it took for me just to get in a good space mentally. That's what I would do on the day, and generally following the same routine really helped with that. All right, so want to wish all the guys all the very best with that T20 World Cup. Before I move on to the comments box, keep your eye on the T20 World Cup, guys. It's going to be an incredible tournament. All the best players in the world competing against each other for that amazing trophy. Moving on to the comments box, then I picked up a few things with my interview that I released with Babar. I wanted to cover this because he was taking a bit of criticism for his English, and I replied that his English is infinitely better than my Urdu, and his batting is excellent, which is what matters more, I believe. Guys, to all of you out there, I really appreciate you taking part in the 360 show, listening to the interviews, putting some really cool comments down in this comments box. But just a little bit of respect would be much appreciated. I mean, the guy has come from a ball picker in Gaddafi to one of the best all-format players with these great techniques. So thanks for that side, Arib Zara. And there's no doubt about that. Humble beginnings for Babar. English was also my second language until I was the age of 9 or 10. Did I not say one word of English? So my English is also a bit broken sometimes. And I just feel it's a bit unfair taking people on for things like that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the interview nonetheless. And I encourage all my friends who's got their glasses half full in life to comment more in this comments box. I really appreciate your input and not so much the glass half empty kind of guys. But anyway, I wanted to cover that. And thanks for that. Saad Amjad 7067 saying it's the best interview with Babar Azam. Thank you very much. I also had a lot of fun talking to him. I thought it was very insightful to see someone from a completely different culture, different upbringing, and the way he fought his way through life and ultimately becoming one of the best cricket players we've ever seen here was really cool. All right, another one. Tell me about SA versus Australia, the deadly rivalry, deadly fast bowlers. Very true. And maybe they find each other sometime in this T20 World Cup. They're not in the same group, but you never know. They might run into each other in the knockout stages. The rivalry is pretty deadly. Very passionate. Two very passionate cricket teams with a similar kind of culture. Australians are very similar to South Africa, very outdoors people, love their sport, and not only cricket, but rugby and quite a few other things as well. But yes, I mean, my memories of playing against the Aussies was always brutal. They're always very vocal. They have this incredible desire and competitive edge, desire to want to win, and this competitive edge to do well for their country. So it was always very intense. I thoroughly enjoyed my big battles against guys like Mitchell Johnson, Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, Josh Hazelwood. I'm thinking back of Glenn McGrath, Sean Tate. Wow, just great memories, and the great Shane Warne, obviously. My name is Mudassir. What kind of development programs or initiatives could further enhance the growth of T20 cricket in associate countries? It's a good question, and it's a tough one to answer. I think every board from the different cricket playing nations must have their game plans in place to make sure that some funds are flowing back into the grassroots of cricket. It's great to see the ICC have all these initiatives of giving away cricket kits for certain runs, amount of runs being scored in this T20 World Cup. I love seeing that. But I think that's what it comes down to. Ultimately, giving kids the opportunity, no matter where you're from, that board, the South African Cricket Board, making sure they get cricket bats in the hands of the youngsters and give them the opportunity to play. Have coaches present, build cricket fields, and ultimately the children will go out and play because they love having fun, they love being active. So hopefully the boards around the world will keep investing in the grassroots of cricket and keep giving the youngsters the opportunity to play this beautiful game of cricket. Last comment that I'm going to cover is this one at the bottom. I want to ask that which opening pair is good for India, Virat and Rohit, or Yashasvi and Rohit? I told you guys what I think. I want Virat at number 3. I do like the look of Yashasvi and Rowan up the order as well, where both of them can take a few risks. Where Virat, I feel, needs to be protected a bit, come in overs 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and just control those middle overs. So that's what I would go for. But let's see what India get up to in this T20 World Cup. Maybe the selectors have other plans for their players, but it's going to be great to watch them play. I think they have a wonderful cricket team at this T20 World Cup, and I would be surprised to watch them not perform. I think they're going to go all the way, most probably be there in the final, and then who knows what will happen. Guys, the 360 challenge, there are a few coming up. While I was in India, I recorded quite a few of them. I had a lot of fun in the streets of Bombay. So here's a little sneak peek at Brett Lee and AB de Villiers. That's the two of us, A versus B. You guys saw a little bit of that where we did the cricket poses. So here's a new one in the streets of Bombay, and I hope you enjoy it.
बाद में प्लीज थोड़ा पीछे आ जाइए, वो यहीं पे हैं, थोड़ा पीछे आ जाइए.
Alrighty, guys, that's just a short clip of A versus B. The full clip will be released on my socials, also on Brett Lee's socials. We had a lot of fun. I love the guy. I think he's got so much energy and very big drive in life. You know, he wants to go out and do things. He loves being active and fit, and it's just great to spend time with him. And it was great to take him on in the 360 challenge. Also, keep an eye out for the full Babar interview, which will be released really soon. And then also, if you want to get your hands on the Winner's Mindset, Shane Watson's book, a link to the website to buy this book will be in the descriptions box below. So go and have a look at that. Get your hands on that book. It's going to help you a lot in life or in sport or whatever challenge you've got to conquer. All right. All the techniques are in there, and I'm pretty sure you're going to find it handy. Guys, thank you very much for joining me in Season 5, Episode 1 of the 360 Challenge. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification, like the show as well, and follow me on socials. As per usual, that's where I keep you guys up to date with regards to what's coming next. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you guys this coming Saturday on 360 Live. Bye now.